So this is part 2 of non-duality made simple. And in this section, I that appears as this, is going to share my awareness as to what is appearing as what happened, as that is what is. So it starts to become tricky while we try and put it into words, which are symbols twice removed. Now, this symbol that you see appearing in front of you, the wonderful yin-yang sign, if I was to explain this in the following way, it makes perfect sense. And to make sense, you have to get out of thought. So to make sense of something, you have to get out of mind. So God is spirit and abides in you, and you are spirit and abides in God. So imagine the white part of being God, abiding in you, the dark spot, and you, the dark part, abiding in light. If you imagine the whole circle is actually light, then the dark part is just a layer on top of the white circle. And the little black dot in the white circle is just reflecting of what appears to be behind it, which is the darkness. So I am spirit and I abide in God, and God is spirit and abides in me. The appearance of duality. But when it all dissolves, there's just light. It'll just be one big light circle ever extending. When you teach in the non-dual space, you teach from level 4, and there's very little to say at level 4. Not that there's levels, there's an appearance of levels. So level 1 is an unconscious level. It's instinct, fully identified with the body-mind identity. When you could be atheist, religious, or spiritual, it's all unconscious. And trust me, there's as many unconscious spiritual people that have bought into spiritual dogma as there are religious people bought into the religious dogma. And many a religious person has a spiritual, a what is experience. And many a spiritual person has a what is experience. The minute you follow anyone, you're lost, because you're following their experience of self-realization. And the minute you try and teach your own process of getting there, you make it into dogma. So follow no one. Never believe a word I say. Find your own path. Mine are just perhaps little signposts to turn you inward, that you find it on your own. Because when you find it on your alone, all on your own, your aloneness realizes your all oneness. Next level is you start to become conscious awareness. You become aware of the concept of non-duality. You become aware that there's something beyond you. You start to become aware of spirit turning inwards. There is no inwards, there's no outwards, there's just this. And you start to remember the essence, source, God. You're still practicing processes, maybe still studying the course or doing a Vita Vedanta or a non-dual subject. So you're in and out. You still think you're real. You still think you're having to chop wood and fetch water and raise the kids. And you're looking for meaning in doing that. And you think it's your purpose. There is no purpose. But you're becoming aware of the concept of you in God. You've never left. Which means that everything else before that is really unconscious. All the myriad of spiritual practices, religious dogmas, spiritual practices, chakras, healing, quantum, kundalini, meditation, all of that is still unconscious duality. When you start to become consciously aware, you realize it's just awareness, and you're in and out of it. Ebbs and tides of awareness. Extending, elastic band, extending, contracting. Extending, contracting. It's all this, what is, appearing as something it's not. And you're still trying to find meaning and purpose in it. And there is none. And it gets you to the next level of an awakening awareness where you realize the observer, the I am. You become aware of that which is aware. Call that Christ consciousness. Aware of the self, Christ consciousness. Christ meaning self. You're aware of the concept dreamer, dreaming of the duality, the world, the universe in God. I am spirit and I abide in God. God is spirit and abides in me. It's the waking awareness stage, the I amness, the beingness. You start to become the essence, the tangibility of the essence becomes all pervading, and then it recedes and comes and goes. And there's moments, glimpses into eternity. Everything becomes an echo for the voice of God. The world starts to appear more gentle, more peaceful, more beautiful. You start to see reflections of yourself. The forgiveness work is done. Forgiveness work is done, which is the work you do in the conscious awareness stage, the second stage. In the awakening awareness stage, you realize there's nothing more to forgive. I created all of this. Everything that was an obstacle to peace, I put in my own way so that I could get to a point and realize there must be a better way. And so I surrendered. I found the silent stillness, and I learned to abide in there, even though it was perhaps through a practice of meditation. But there's an awakening awareness happening. And then that's as far as we go. Because beyond that, we can't, because we are an activity of a dream and we can't know anything but the activity of the dream. And when we realize we're dreaming, all that we realize is what is happening in that which is God. So what is the appearance, the activities of the dream appearing in that which is God. Dreamer in God, never left. The awakened awareness is when you finally settle this body down. How do I know this? Through the self-inquiry process, you realize in the silent stillness, all that is that which is. And there's no I thought. You're not aware of I thinking because there's no thought. There's just this all-pervading silent stillness, which itself is awareness. It's beyond the observer. The observer dissolves. There is no observer. There's nothing to observe. There's nothing to see. There's just the seeing of all of it. What is what is meant to be. And that's the surrender. And God takes the final step, because the identity, the dreamer, dissolves into that which is. Another way to put that is, imagine in your mind's eye, there's no mind, there is no I. Just this white light forever extending. And we give that, it's conceptual still, but it will bring you into that understanding. That is God, that is source, that is spirit, that is mind, that is all there is. Just this eternal extension of light. Now, in our seeing, science has proven it, you've learned that at school, that you see the opposite of what you're looking at. So if you see white, what you're actually seeing is darkness. If you see darkness, what's actually seeing is light. When you see blue, you see every other color but blue. When you see red, you see every other color but red. Your eyes invert. And so what appears to be light, if could be seen by that observing it, would be seen as just pure darkness. And so in that pure light, a cell of light appears and falls asleep. So that light is just light, pure light. And one cell in that light contracts, falls asleep. It's a way of telling a story. There's nothing to sleep. But imagine this contraction of one little aspect of that which is just asleep. And it goes, there's one little dot in this ever extension of light, this expansion of limitless light falls asleep. And that cell of light, the Son of God, falls asleep and imagines nothing. So it goes into nothing. It's never left the light. It's still in there. And if we zoom into that little circle, that's all we see, nothing. It dreams of nothing. The Son of God dreams of no thing. It's unaware, it's asleep. For a fraction of a billionth of a second, it's just contracted, fallen asleep. Nothing, no thing. But that's not its true reality. It's just the appearance of what is to it. And so the essence of itself calls to itself to return to the light it is. And so we call that in the Course in Miracles, God calls his Son to awaken. So in the darkness of the no-thing dream, a light is seen, a voice is heard, which is the essence of its true self, the memory of God, which appears in everything, appears as a spark of light in this darkness. So imagine this vastness of the darkness. Imagine the universe before the universe. It was just darkness, which is actually just pure light. And then there's a little spark, a little piece of light. And it just, boom, it expands, it extends. And it extends. Boom, and we have the Big Bang. So it appears like light spreading through the darkness. The inverse is it's only light. It's actually darkness appearing to spread in the light. And that's the voice, the memory of ourself, of the essence of what is. The essence of our true self, the essence of God. The memory of, extending in the dream of darkness. It's remembering itself. So the awakening began, boom, the Big Bang was the awakening of that which never happened. And what appears to be the universe extending, expanding, objects, people, places, things, and events being created is this nothing. It is the essence of what is appearing as something which it never can be in that which is all there is. And we now have a universe. That's it, wow. And look, in the very center of it, of every single galaxy, at the very center of every universe, just light. And there's a swirl of light extending, silence, it's completely silent, space is silent. And yet there's momentum, movement, motion in the silence, stillness abiding. And as it moves through its joyous essence of self, there's appearance of creation of what is. And if we look at it and we zoom into it, and there's that tiny little dot there, there's our little sun. And around that little light, there's a whole lot of swirling little pieces of objects called planets. And there's our little planet. This is all happening in the dreaming mind, in your dreaming mind, your Son of God dreaming mind. You've dreamt all of this up. And inside that little planet, we then have people. And 2,000 years ago, there was a dude called Jesus. And he figured this out. He realized this is all an illusion. And then 2,000 later, there's this miserable looking dude with a beard, glasses superimposed on. And then there's that little lady going, oh, Jesus, Jesus, you know, Savior, Savior. What are you doing with that dude with a suit? Why is he wearing a suit? What is that he's wearing? So 2,000 years ago, that guy would have been stoned instantly. And 2,000 years later, that dude would have looked at him and said, well, he's like a gamer. You know, he's one of those like that smokes doobie and plays games all day long. Just looks like one of those hippies. And what is appearing, so those three characters on the screen and the big planet and the entire universe, all of it is just activities in the mind, in the dreaming mind. My body and that piece of light that you see on the screen, or the Jesus, or the lady screaming, they're all the same thing. And these are just activities, minds, mind activities, thoughts appearing as thoughts in forms, bodies, in the illusionary space-time. But all are really thought activities of the dreaming mind. There's no difference between you, Jesus, I, everyone else, the planet Earth, Jupiter, Mars, the sun, the entire universe is nothing that we're all activities of one dreaming mind. Appearing as space-time matter. This is the activity of the dreamer. This appears real because it's the dream is localized as activities, people, places, things, and events in his dream, not only as planets, but as what appears to be walking, talking, sentient beings. And what's important for you to realize is what's going on in what they think is their minds, which is actually the mind. And so parts of the mind, which appeared as a Jesus, right-mindedness, they fully focused only on silence, God, silence, same thing. Christ mind realizes everything that appears isn't real because what is what is. What is God. And there's those that try to figure it out. And part of their mind they were aware of was right-mindedness, and part of their mind was still dreaming and finding non-dual concepts. If you now zoom into that appearance of what appears to be lewd, it's all right-minded now. There's no course more. It's put the course down. It's just focused only on what is, God is. The challenge comes in the objectification. And that's what's happening with the course community, hence the activity speaking out, sharing with, nothing to fix. It's just sharing its understanding that those that get to that end of the book, and as Sophia says, get to the end of the book. And what's the last page of the book say? It says nothing. The whole book says nothing. And the last one says everything. It's a blank page. The wrong-minded activities, they see the world and they start to mystify it, and there's themselves, and they see themselves in a relationship with Jesus, Jesus talking to them, Jesus their Messiah or some other voice they're channeling, searching for our salvations outside them. Realize this, that you and Jesus or Buddha, Krishna, Ramana Maharishi, Papaji, Muji, we're all the same essence. Appearing is different, appearing to have our own story. It's all activities of a dreaming mind. You don't have a mind. You don't think. You are that. You're the activity that thinks you out. All of it is. I am spirit and I abide in God. God is spirit and abides in me. And when I realize there's no I, there's just what is. There's just God. But it's filtered through contraction, I, observing. I appear to be this, appearing to be in this world, appearing as this. But all this is what is, appearing in that is, in that which is. What is always what is. It's another way to look at it. Part 2, the end.